संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। So as you all know, today we will be discussing how Swamiji is explained that how can we go beyond Maya. Last time we had seen that what Maya is according to Swami Vivekananda. So according to him, it is a simple statement of facts, what we are and what we see around us. And what is that fact? That great fact is that our whole life is a contradiction, a mixture of existence and non-existence. And we are goaded forward in this life by a kind of illusory hope, a false hope, a dream which we nurture all through our lives of getting unmixed happiness, getting unmixed, unlimited happiness for all time to come. This hope leads us forward, but the nature of the world is such that this hope can never be fulfilled. Why? Because Swami Vivekananda says that happiness and misery are not two different things. Once we accept one of them, we accept the other also. And secondly, as we increase our power to be happy, we also increase our power to suffer. So we who are progressing know that the more we progress, the more avenues are open to pain as well as to pleasure. And this is Maya. This is what Swamiji says. And he says that these tremendous contradictions in our intellect, in our knowledge, in fact, in all facts of our life, face us on all sides. So in Sanskrit, this is called Dvandva. Dvandva means pair of opposites. The opposites always go together. Happiness and misery always go together. Here we have warmth also, we have cold also, we have some people are honored also, some people are insulted also, some people are rich, some people are poor, some are scholars, some are educated, and some are absolutely illiterate. So this pairs of contradictions have always existed in the world and will continue to exist till eternity. This is the fact we should recognize and we should be ready to face. This is the simple truth. So when Swamiji says that as we progress, we open more avenues towards pleasure, but we also open the same number of avenues towards pain. So when we think we are progressing, we should think again. Because according to this theory, if we move 5 steps forward, so to say, at the same time, we also take 5 steps backward. If we progress, we also recede by the same distance. So actually we are not moving forward. We are going around in circles. This is the thing. We may think we are getting more happiness, but we don't know that the same amount of misery also awaits us. So we are going around in circles means the resultant of all our movements, of all our activities, the aim of which is to get happiness from the world, mind you. All such activities, the resultant is zero. This is how it is in Maya. So these things are going on day and night, Swamiji says, and to find a solution of this problem is impossible. Solution is impossible means what? Means we cannot change the nature of the world. In that way, the solution is impossible. But on a personal level, a solution is possible. What is that solution? That we have to get out of this Maya. This is the thing. So Swamiji says that Maya is not a theory for the explanation of the world. It is simply a statement of facts as they exist. That our very basis of our being is contradiction. And within Maya, this state of things cannot be remedied. This is the simple thing. So what does it show? Swamiji says that it is all futile. All our efforts to get unmixed happiness in this world are absolutely futile. There has been born no person who has succeeded in this, and in future also nobody can succeed in this, because the nature of the world is such. Because we don't recognize the nature of the world, we are goaded by false hopes, and these false hopes can never be satisfied. So then what is the solution? That is the question now. Because things in the world will never change. Swamiji says, look at the sum total of good and evil in this world. Has it changed? Ages have passed. The world thought that each time the problem would be solved. But it is always the same. Always the same problem. At best, it only changes its form. That is the thing. There will be no time when the world will be rid of all problems. Now, if such be the truth, says Swamiji, that we are in a state of hopeless contradiction, neither existence nor non-existence, neither misery nor happiness, but a mixture of them, then what is the use of Vedanta and all other philosophies and religions? And what are we to do then? This is the question. So again I quote Swamiji, is there no hope then? True it is that we are all slaves of Maya, born in Maya and live in Maya. Is there no way out, no hope? That we are all miserable, that this world is really a prison, that even our so-called trailing beauty is but a prison house, that even our intellects and minds are prison houses, have been known for ages upon ages. There never has been a man, a human soul, who has not felt this sometime or other, however he may talk. So is there no way out? This is the question. So two ways have been proposed, says Swamiji. Man or human beings adopt either of these two ways to live in the world. Because we all have to live, you see. For that, we have to adopt a path that when this is the state of affairs, what should we do? So even when people realize this, they take either one of those paths. What is the first one? The first path, which everyone knows and which is the most common, is people think that it may be very true. It may be very true that this world is Maya, it is a contradiction, but do not think of it. Make hay while the sun shines. I quote Swami Vivekananda. What do they say? It is all true, it is a fact, but do not mind it. Seize the few pleasures you can. Do not look at the dark side of the picture, but always towards the hopeful, the positive side. This is the attitude which men generally take. So Swamiji says that there is some truth in this, but there is also a very great danger. What is the truth? The truth is that it is a good motive power. Hope and positive ideals are very good motive powers in our life. But there is also a danger. What is the danger? That if we think like this, we will give up the struggle in despair. We will give up the struggle to go beyond Maya. Such is the case with those who preach that take the world as it is. Sit down as calmly and comfortably as you can and be contented with all these miseries. When you receive blows, say they are not blows but flowers. And when you are driven about like slaves, say that you are free. So day and night tell lies to others and to your own souls, because that is the only way to live happily. This is what Swamiji says is called practical wisdom. And this is the wisdom of the majority of people like us. But it fails, as it always must fail. In the long run, it has to fail. Why? Swamiji gives the example of hiding a carrion with roses. There's a dead body, foul-smelling body. You cover it up with roses. You say that, oh, for the time being, let the roses hide the smell. But how long can the roses do so? The roses will wither away one day, and the smell then will be the worst as ever. So that is not the solution. Because we can't lie to ourselves and others forever. We cannot keep on lying. We have to accept the truth one day or the other. So, till we keep on deluding ourselves in this way, we can never get out of Maya. If we say that, let this be, don't bother yourself with philosophy and all, it is true that the world is full of misery, but we also get some happiness. Take that, be satisfied. Even though you are slaves, think you are free. So those who take this attitude can never get out of Maya. Those who get out of Maya adopt the second path. So who are those? Swamiji says, quote, only he can get out of Maya who has tremendous dissatisfaction with the present state of things, with our lives, and a hatred, an intense hatred, an unbounded disgust for fraud and lies. He alone can come out who dares say, as the mighty Buddha once said under the bo tree, when this idea of practicality appeared before him, and he saw that it was nonsense, and yet could not find a way out till then. So when the temptation came to Buddha to give up his search after truth, to go back to the world and live the old life of fraud, calling things by wrong names, telling lies to oneself and to everybody, he, the giant, conquered it and said, "Death is better than a vegetating, ignorant life. It is better to die on the battlefield than to live a life of defeat." This is the attitude of great souls like Buddha, Ramakrishna, and others. And this is the attitude which can take us out of Maya. No compromise with these lies. So when brave souls like these, they take this stand, this brave stand, then what do they find? They finally, after a long struggle, they finally find a way out of Maya. They hear a voice, God's voice. To quote Swami Vivekananda again, these brave souls find out that, quote, even with this terrible fact before us, in the midst of sorrow and suffering, even in this world where life and death are synonymous, even here, these people hear a small voice that is ringing through all ages, through every country, and in every heart. What is that voice? That voice of Bhagwan Shri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Devi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya mitam tarantite. This, my Maya, is divine, made up of qualities, and difficult to cross. Yet those that come unto me cross the river of life. And they also hear the voice of Jesus Christ. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. This is the voice that is leading us forward. Man has heard it and is hearing it through all the ages. This voice comes to men when everything seems to be lost and hope has fled, when man's dependence on his own strength has been crushed down and everything seems to melt away between his fingers, and life is a hopeless ruin. Then he hears this voice, and this is called religion. This is called religion. According to Swami Vivekananda, when a man hears this voice and he is willing to give up his life to struggle after truth, rather than lead this humdrum vegetating existence, doing the same things day in and day out, and hoping for a time when all problems will go away by magic, rather than live that life when a person has decided to struggle against Maya, then he hears this voice. And only such men can be truly religious. This is what religion is all about. This is the crust and kernel of religion. Hmm. Not just offering a few flowers at a picture of God and saying that God, hmm, give me a son, give me a daughter, give me lots of money and all that. Hmm. This is not religion, what we are all doing. Hmm. So Swamiji says, on the one side, therefore, is the bold assertion that this is all nonsense, that this is Maya. But along with it, there is the most hopeful assertion that beyond Maya, there is a way out. On the other hand, practical men tell us, don't bother your heads about such nonsense as religion and metaphysics. Live here. This is a very bad world indeed, but make the best of it. But on the other side are men like Buddha. And their attitude, Buddha's attitude, Ramakrishna's attitude, Swami Vivekananda's attitude, Christ's attitude, their attitude is the basis of religion. And I again quote Swamiji, when a man takes this stand, he is on the way to find the truth. He is on the way to God. That determination must be the first impulse towards becoming religious. I will hew out a way out for myself. I will know the truth or give up my life in the attempt. For on this side it is nothing. It is gone. It is vanishing every day. And by adopting a so-called practical attitude, we can never get out of this web of Maya. We can wander here till eternity, but we will not be able to get out. We will be like a man who is searching for water all his life and also making so many attempts to get water, but in the end, he finds that he is still thirsty. So, what is the way out for us? First is adopt this attitude. Be brave, face the truth, and be ready to struggle. This is the first step. After that, what is the practical thing we have to do? These people have to work against Maya. Against Maya, mind you. The stream is rushing. The stream is rushing, there is a waterfall. The current is strong. If you jump and you let yourself go with the current, you will be dashed to pieces. You will be crushed. What you have to do is, if you want to go to safety, you have to swim against the current of Maya. So, again I quote Swamiji, the way is not with Maya, but against it. This is another fact to learn. We are not born as helpers of nature, but competitors with nature. We are its masters, but we bind ourselves down. Why is this house here? Nature did not build it. Nature says, go and live in the forest. Man says, no, I will build a house and fight with nature. And he does so. The whole history of humanity is a continuous fight against the so-called laws of nature, and man gains in the end. Coming to the internal world, there too the same fight is going on. This fight between the animal man and the spiritual man, between light and darkness. And here too, man becomes victorious. He, as it were, cuts his way out of nature to freedom. This is the way out. working against our nature externally as well as internally. Externally, nature says, live in the forest. Or in Canada, if we had to go with nature, not even a single person would be alive. We will all be dead due to cold right now. But we say, no, nature, I won't listen to you. I will build a house for myself. I will equip it with heating and other comforts in such a way that I will not mind the ravages of nature. This is the external world. And in the internal world also, our nature tells us to be selfish, to go and look for easy means of pleasure, to grab what is ready at hand, to live a comfortable life. But the man or the person who wants to get out of Maya, he revolts against this internal nature also. He says, no, I have learned that being selfish is not the way out. Searching for sense pleasures is not the way out. Searching for easy gains is not the way out. The way out is transcending the whole of nature to go beyond Maya. So, when a man adopts this attitude, his struggle begins, his religious life begins. Because working against Maya in the internal world means working against our natural inclinations. What happens when each of us when we sit down to meditate? What happens? Immediately within 2 minutes, the mind revolts. It says, oh, get up, get up. Why are you bothering yourself like this? See, there are so many nice things to eat. Go and see television, go and see some movie, go to a disco. But the man who has known the truth behind all these facades, he will say, no, I will not obey my natural inclinations. I will struggle with my mind till I have conquered it and till I am no more a slave to it. So, what is the goal of this type of a person? Final goal. What does he aim at? He aims at going beyond nature. And to quote Swamiji again, knowing that good is another name for evil, life is another name for death. He gives up both. He gives up both good and evil, also life and death. Since he has realized the only way to stop evil is to stop good also, there is no other way. So Swamiji says, to stop death, we shall have to stop life also. Life without death and happiness without misery are contradictions, and neither can be found alone, because each of them is but a different manifestation of the same thing. So this is the way out of Maya. Giving up good as well as evil. Giving up life as well as death. Because life is only death in another form. See, a candle is burning. This burning of the candle is its life. But what is happening when it is burning? The amount of wax is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it is living, but in order to live, it has to die each moment. So our so-called life in this body, we are actually dying each moment. Our body is deteriorating every second. It is going towards destruction. So till we want life, we have to accept it. There is no way out. So give up life if you want to give up death. Now, this assertion seems absolutely ridiculous to most of us. Give up life? Then what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to commit suicide? That is what is meant by giving up life. That's what we think. But no, that is not what Swamiji means. That is not what Swamiji did, not what Buddha did, not what Christ did. They gave up life and death. But for what? To go beyond them both. So actually, we have two kinds of life. This should be clearly understood. Without understanding this, we will not realize what Swamiji means when he says we have to give up life. We have two kinds of life. The first is our real life as the eternal soul, as the Atman, which is one with God Himself. That is our real nature. And the second life, which we now are in the midst of, is when this soul wrongly thinks that it is the mind and body complex, and thinking that it identifies itself with a mind and body wrongly, and therefore gets trapped in this Maya. This is the life, this identification with the mind and body, which is the cause of all our problems. And till we cling on to this life, till we cling on to this wrong identification, we can never get out of Maya, because this kind of life, life in the body, is the same as death. So when Swamiji says that we have to give up life, means what? We have to give up this false identification, because without that we will never be able to go beyond Maya. So this small limited life, when we think I am so and so, I have this body, if I get hurt I have to go to the hospital, this life is not worth living at all, because here happiness and misery will always coexist. And till we go on searching for happiness, we are bound to get misery also. So giving up life means giving up this small limited existence in this prison of the mind and body. When we give up this, then we will gain our true eternal life. But strictly speaking, it cannot be called life at all, because life means death. Therefore, that soul or the Atman is called pure existence. Actually, it can be called nothing. You cannot give any word to that, because existence also implies non-existence. But we still say it is Sat. Sat means existence. That is to deny that it is non-existent. That is the thing. So when we give up this limited life, only then can we attain our true life, true existence, our true nature, which is the Atman and soul. This is the meaning of giving up life. Now, again, let us try to understand what Swami Vivekananda means when he says, give up good also. If you want to avoid evil, he says, you have to give up good also. Now what does he mean? What does he mean? That should we give up good works? Give up evil works, that we understand. But should we stop doing good also? Should we spend our whole life in bed, lying down, doing nothing? Because that is what is meant by giving up both good and evil. No, that is not what it Swamiji means. Giving up good does not mean that we stop doing good actions. In fact, the first step, if we want to go beyond Maya, is doing good. At another place, Swamiji has said, do good and be good. This is the whole of religion. Okay, because that is what will give us freedom. What is the use of doing good work then? This is the question that we ask ourselves. If you cannot do good without doing evil, and whenever you try to get happiness, there will always be misery. So people will ask, what is the use of doing good? The use is that is the only way of getting out of this life of contradiction, to gain true life. Why? Because by doing good, our mind will be purified. Our mind will be purified of the desires which are the reason for us clinging to this mind and body. These desires are acting like a glue, which is the cause of our identifying ourselves with this mind and body. So till we do selfish actions, this glue will become stronger and stronger and stronger. The only way to loosen this is to do good and unselfish actions. But then what is the meaning of giving up good? The meaning is the action should be completely unselfish. We should not desire even the good fruits which will accrue to us because of that action. Because if we want the good result, the bad result will also come whether we want it or not. So when we do some action, we should give up everything, the good result as well as bad result. That is called working in the spirit of karma yoga. That is called karma yoga. Swamiji has written beautifully on that. We will discuss that later. It is a beautiful science. So the science of karma yoga says keep on doing good, but do it unselfishly. Don't desire the good results from your actions. Because if you desire good, the bad result which accompanies every action will also come to you. So when the result comes, you have to bear it. Bearing means becoming the cause of another result, another karma. Then you keep on desiring and experiencing the fruits of karma. So you'll never get out of Maya. So the way out is do good, but don't desire the results of that work. So quoting Swamiji, he says, good works should be done with a pure mind. Don't give a man $20 and buy all the papers in San Francisco to see your name in it. Serve as worship of the Lord Himself in the poor, in the miserable, in the weak. That done, the result is secondary. Don't look at the result. That sort of work done without any thought of gain benefits the soul, and even of such is the kingdom of heaven. This is what Swamiji says. So if we want to get out of Maya, we have to do good with more zest, with more enthusiasm than ever, because that is the only way to purify our mind. Like last time when we had, after the conclusion of the class, one of you was saying that if we give up everything, we will have no enthusiasm for work. Why? Because when we are thinking that the worldly gain is the only gain which there is, till we think this, then we will keep on thinking that without this desire, without desire for gain, we will not have any enthusiasm for work. But when we are convinced that the world can offer us nothing worthwhile, our true goal, when it is God and God alone, then we work and do good with most enthusiasm, with the greatest enthusiasm. Because then the goal which drives us is much, much greater than all the worldly gains. Who has worked as hard as Buddha or Christ or Ramakrishna or Vivekananda? Swamiji himself said one day, he wrote in a letter to India in the West when he was there, that if an ordinary man had to work as hard as I am doing, even 1/10 if he had to do, he would have died by this time. And due to overwork, he died at such a young age. So why? What was the enthusiasm which was driving them forward? They had no worldly gain. They had no money, no hardly even bare subsistence. Sometimes they did not have. Then what was the motive which was driving them? This was the motive: serving God, serving God in man. So when we say that, when we think that we will not have any enthusiasm for work, if we work without any worldly gain, then we should know that we are looking for satisfaction at the wrong place. We are looking for that in the world, which can never give us anything lasting or anything worthwhile. So this is the way. This is the way out of Maya, giving up life, this small life. So because only by giving it up, we can also conquer death. And giving up this small good, good means worldly gain. Because only by giving that up, giving this pleasure up, we can escape misery also. The thing is, till the afterlife, so to say, till the spiritual life, till God, till divine reality becomes real to us, we can never really adopt this attitude. Till we think this worldly life to be the be all and end all, we cannot even take the first step towards religion. The first thing is to understand the goal of life. So I quote Swamiji again, what is the goal of life? Is this world the goal of life? Nothing more? Are we to be just what we are? Nothing more? Is man to be a machine which runs smoothly without a hitch anywhere? Are all the sufferings he experienced today all he can have, and doesn't he want anything more? Is sense enjoyment the goal of life? Were it so, it would be a tremendous mistake to become a man at all. What human being can enjoy a meal with more gusto than a dog or a cat? Can this life ever be the goal of the soul? If it is, better die this moment. Do not want this life. If the world is our only goal, if these few dollars, these few pleasures, along with which comes such a lot of misery, if this is the only goal, Swamiji says, better to die. Better to die than live such a life which has nothing higher before it. We are not for this. Man is divine. He was not born just to earn and then accumulate till death a few dollars. No, not at all. He was born for much greater things. He was born to get infinite existence and infinite bliss forever and ever and ever. That is called freedom. That is called knowledge. And that is the goal of all the religions. That is the true goal. So, to quote Swami Vivekananda again, all religions are more or less attempts to get beyond nature. The crudest or the most developed, expressed through mythology or symbology, stories of gods, angels, or demons, or through stories of saints and sages, or through abstractions of philosophy, all have that one object. All are trying to get beyond these limitations, this network of Maya. In one word, they are all struggling towards freedom. That is the goal. And that freedom, that knowledge is also infinite bliss. So when we give up everything, when we give up good and evil, when we give up life and death, we don't give them up for nothing. We have to renounce. But for what? Swamiji says, renounce the lower so that you may get the higher. Renounce, sacrifice, give up, not for zero, not for nothing, but to get the highest. And this renunciation we are practicing nearly every day. It is not that we are not practicing. When a student, when he has got his exams coming up, what does he do? Does he go and see ball games, or he go and see television, or go to discos? No. If he is a sincere student, he gives them up. He gives these lower things up. Why? To get something higher. When a mother, in order to bring up her child, she gives up so many things. A man gives up so many things for his family to serve others. So all these are examples of renunciation. And if a man does not practice this kind of renunciation, he is no man at all. Such a man would probably be seen lying somewhere in the street. You know what happens then. We all know such cases are there. So this renunciation is being practiced by all cultured people. But we have to do it consciously and direct it towards the highest goal of life. This is the thing. Renunciation is not something alien to us. All good people practice it in some form or the other. But now, when we know the nature of the world, when we have realized the nature of Maya, then we know that even these petty sacrifices also, these also have to be transformed into one great sacrifice, the greatest that there can be. Sacrificing everything, that is sacrificing, giving up the whole world to go beyond this world and realize our own nature. Because as Swami Vivekananda says, where God is, there is no other. Where the world is, there is no God. These two will never unite. Like light and darkness, they will never unite. So Maya and freedom, these will never unite. If we want freedom, we have to give up Maya, we have to renounce the world. Renounce the world means what? Not going into the jungle. Because in going into the jungle also, a man can be intensely selfish. Here renunciation means giving up selfishness. Giving up these two things which Sri Ramakrishna again and again has emphasized. This tremendous greed for wealth, which is so rampant, which is also present so much in even those who go about parading as devotees. This terrible greed for wealth and this search after sense pleasures. This is what Sri Ramakrishna calls Kam and Kanchan. This is the world. And if one gives them up, then even if he is living in the world, he can be free. Even living in this body, he can be free. And so many examples are there before us, like Swami Vivekananda and the great saints of East and West, Mirabai, Tulsidas, Surdas. In India, so many people are there. And in here, other countries also, so many in the Christian world, so many wonderful saints, Saint Francis of Assisi, then Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint John of the Cross, the wonderful writings they have left behind. And they all emphasize this thing, that the goal is to reach God, to attain God through contempt, through renunciation of this world. This world, what is this world? This world is selfishness. This is the one theme of all religious saints and sages. And this is the way to get out of Maya. So when we start becoming unselfish slowly, then slowly, we finally reach the stage when we are able to give up everything. We give up everything, life as well as death, good as well as evil, happiness as well as misery. And when we do that, we detach ourselves from this mundane existence. We are free from the shackles of the mind and body, and then we regain our true nature and become blessed forever and ever and ever. We can never again experience misery or bondage. Never again. This is the supreme goal, but as we all know, it is not so easy to give up everything right at the beginning, because we have to get control over what we are giving up. See, in India, in our ashramas also, what happens, it is a hot country, you see. So sometimes when the windows are generally open night and day, so sometimes birds enter our rooms, and they keep on wandering and disturbing you. They will keep on flying around. Now you want to give up the bird. Give up the bird, you want to get it out of your room. But how can you do that? The bird is not in your control. It is flying so fast, it is impossible to catch it. So till you catch it, how can you get rid of it? You can't. So when we want to give up, our mind and body, first we have to gain control over it. And gaining control over our mind is not such a small thing. So detailed paths have been chalked out. A regular form of sadhana has to be followed, not for one day or 1 week or 1 year. For the whole life is necessary. And there are 4 broad paths to reach the goal. These paths are not watertight compartments. The path of knowledge, the path of devotion, the path of work, and the path of concentration. The path of knowledge, Jnana Yoga, the path of devotion, Bhakti Yoga, the path of work, Karma Yoga, and the path of concentration, Raj Yoga. So these are not watertight compartments. It is not that the person who is practicing devotion will have no knowledge and that person who is working will have no devotion. It is not like that. But the stress, they are divided upon the stress which is laid upon each path. So these have to be systematically followed with great determination and patience. So finally, we can get rid of all selfishness, and when we succeed in doing that, we will go beyond Maya. And fortunately, then there will be no coming back. No coming back to this world of misery. This is the way which has been propounded not only by Swami Vivekananda, but by all saints and sages throughout the ages. Only the language differs. The language differs according to the country, according to the race, according to the circumstances, according to the age in which they have lived. But this is the central message of all. This is the way out of Maya. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.